Before I get too far into this video, I just want to say that I realize this is the internet, and this is a video that's going to be dealing with racism, race relations, just some touchy stuff. And I know people on the internet can be, real ignorant when they're behind their keyboard and would say things they probably wouldn't say to anyone's face in real life. I just want to say, keep the racial hatred out of this video. I know, yes, there's free speech and all that, but just please, if you're going to be ignorant, save it for somewhere else. Anyway, there's a little controversy being stirred over a monument that's to be expanded upon in Selma, Alabama. And I had no idea about this. There was a YouTube user by the name of StarFox3311 that sent me a message earlier today, and I want to try making more videos out of stuff that you guys send me random messages about. After all, you take the time to write me messages about things and want to hear my input on things. I figure I can just start, making more videos about what you request of me. And this person told me there's this monument that's being expanded for this KKK Grand Wizard, the first ever Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and it's in Selma, Alabama. And I was like, yeah, you don't even know what this is about, and it's sparked my interest to find out a little bit more. And I looked up a few articles and found out where the outrage is coming from, why this monument's being expanded, and a number of other things. And I said, probably not many people out there even know about this story. I haven't seen it on any sort of news coverage or anything, and I figured this is something that, maybe if I can just open up a few more minds to this, then this is a good thing. So I'm going to take the time out of my day just to give you my thoughts and interpretation of this whole monument being expanded upon. Anyway, I'll put a link in the video description to an article if you want to get more information about this as well. As I said earlier, this monument is in Selma, Alabama, and it's a monument memorializing the first ever Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Nathan Bedford Forrest. If you've ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, you actually have heard this name before, because when Forrest goes through how he got his name, he describes how he was named after the first Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. That's actually who this monument was about. That what they said in the movie was the actual fact of the matter. Anyway, he was a former general of the Confederate Army, revered in his part of the world. War didn't necessarily go his way as far as the American Civil War went, that's for sure. And after the war had ended, he founded the group that later went on to be known as the Ku Klux Klan, a group that has for over 100 years now been spreading racial bigotry, hatred, committing acts of violence and terrorism. Really no good shit. I know some people are going to try and rationalize out there that they do something good. If you are, save it. Anyway, when I first saw this story, I said to myself, I love free speech in this country, and I love the right to assemble, and, every now and then you'll see that the neo-Nazis are staging a march somewhere to, preach their hatred or whatever, and I'm like, God damn, I can't believe groups like this want to assemble and, speak out, but you know what? They have a right to. If I had the right to turn on my camera and say whatever I want, go out in the street, talk to anyone about whatever I want, then they should have that right too. As insane as their logic may be to you or I, and as hateful as their logic may be, they have a right to do that. And I said to myself, why couldn't anyone put a memorial for anyone up anywhere? If someone owns the land, which in this case is owned by a group called, I think it's the Daughters of the Confederacy, to which they built the first monument for General Forrest for, and there's already a monument there, and they're simply talking about expanding the monument, making it bigger. Initially I was like, you know what, that should be fine. But then I said to myself, I asked myself questions that would make me think more logically about this. And I asked myself one question. I want to ask this to anyone out there as well. Would you be okay if, be it in Germany, Europe, America, wherever you want to say to be built, for there to be any sort of monument for Adolf Hitler? or just say anywhere in this country, let's just say a very pro-Muslim group that agrees with the terrorist attacks of 9/11, build some sort of monument for Osama bin Laden in America. Would you be okay with that? And I asked myself those two questions, and I said, hell no. Absolutely not. These are cold-blooded, ruthless murderers that killed countless amounts of people. But then I said, well, what the hell was Nathan Bedford Forrest? He was the founder of a hate group that has a number of killings based on racial prejudice attached to its name. So how could I be for that but against something like an Adolf Hitler or an Osama bin Laden monument being built? And I said, well, what is it? Because of the sheer volume? Because someone like Hitler killed millions of people and the Ku Klux Klan didn't? I mean, is that the pretense I want to go on to decide whether or not one monument gets built and the other doesn't? And I don't know. I don't know what is right or wrong in this. And should it be okay if anyone wants to build a monument for anyone? As sick and sadistic as the person may be, as much as a cold-blooded murderer they may be, because there's a lot of outrage in Selma, I almost said Arizona, Selma, Alabama right now, because this monument's becoming expanded. They're actually making modifications to it because the head, the bust, there was a monument, a concrete piling, whatever you want to call it, with inscriptions on it detailing Nathan Bedford Forrest's life, and there was a bust of him on top, a sculpture of his head, and that was stolen back in, I think it said October. It says it in the article down in the video description. So what they're doing is they're making, you know, a larger pillar on the top and putting a larger monument on top of that, so it's going to be more prominent and seen from more places, and people are like insulted, and they just want monuments to stop. The people that are against this just to stop. Monuments that are memorializing or just remembering, that's the same thing anyway, just remembering people of hatred to stop, and people are fed up. I absolutely hear those people, and I understand their complaints, and that is something that should stop, but at the same time, we do have a constitution that has free speech, right to assemble, and by God, if you want to create a memorial for whoever you so choose on your property, should you be able to. It's not like this is being erected in front of a county courthouse or anything like that. So, I don't know. This is something that I've really been pondering for about an hour now, and I don't have an absolute answer to give to you guys. I'm curious what the consensus is out there, because right now the only people that are really voicing outrage over this are people in the South, in this community, because this is something that's not really making national news. So yes, I understand the people in Selma being furious about this, because now their town is being linked to hatred. Their town is going to be labeled as this town that is for memorializing this mammoth racist. Yes, I can understand how people in that town would be furious over that. I wouldn't want something like that being built in the town I live in. I'd be disgraced to live in that town. But if someone wants to, should they be able to? Or should they be just disbanded, or just, not disbanded, but just forbidden from doing so? Oh, boy. I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, if someone said, yeah, they want to build a monument to Hitler or Osama bin Laden, I'd be like, there's no way. It's got to be destroyed. And I would cheer whoever destroyed it. But then again, am I, by saying something like this monument for a Confederate general, am I a racist for allowing that? Could I understand that people would view me as a racist? Maybe, possibly so. But I like to feel that I'm more in defense of the Constitution. But man, I can't get over my mind. The town already wanted and already allowed, they already allowed this monument to be built, and the town council approved of it. That's due process as far as I'm concerned, and now they want to expand upon it. I don't know. Should the towns have an ultimate say of saying, no, you absolutely can't build this monument? I mean, for crying out loud, are anyone out there losing their minds over the many monuments that are dedicated to Robert E. Lee, the general of the entire Confederate Army. Go down to Richmond, Virginia, there's monuments to him everywhere. Is anyone going, no, you can't put his statue up here? No. Is that okay? How many people are there statues of in Washington, D.C. right now? There are quote-unquote good guys that own slaves, created legislation that made slavery more difficult to abolish, that made rules and regulations that made slavery worse. So, as far as I'm concerned, monuments should be allowed, but again, I can't possibly rationalize monuments of hatred, and I understand why people would be upset for a monument of hatred being built in their town. But man, I don't know, I'm at a loss. So to Star Fox 3311, I don't know, I would say you'd have to leave it up to the town to decide that. But again, it's a town basically given the choice to say, should we or should we not support this structure that basically says, you know, we're basically paying homage to a guy that supported racism and started one of the biggest racist groups in this world's history. And I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of it. And I just wanted to ramble and just kind of bring light to this issue, this story, to something that you guys probably wouldn't have thought about unless I made a video about this. Because like I said, this is something that's not getting national news. And again, what do you think of my point of view of this? You know, oh, am I racist to say, yes, okay, this statue for a Confederate general should be made, but no, if it's something like Adolf Hitler and Osama bin Laden, I should be against it, even though all three are against certain specific people for the similar reasons. But anyway, I don't know. I just... am I just ridiculous because I'm stuck on this notion of, well, these guys are a lot more evil than this guy? I don't know, I've rambled on long enough, and I just want to go home. Alright, I already am home. I'm sorry, I don't know why I ended with that. Have a great day, everyone.